Last night's Bachelor nearly wiped out half of the women, and we are here to break down the biggest moments from last night's episode. Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We've got to talk about the Bachelor. We're down to our final 4 women, but how did we get here? We're going to break it all down, but before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future videos. As always, I am your host and Bachelor expert, Zachary Reality, and last night's episode was actually the most dramatic one yet of the season. Clayton has narrowed down his women to the top 4 for hometowns next week, which includes Serene, Susie, Rachel, and Gabby. And they're going to be introducing Clayton to their families. But we couldn't have gotten here without some drama on last night's episode, so we got to start with Mara and her last-ditch effort to get a rose. I mean, Mara and Sarah, they have been, feuding for a few episodes now. We first saw a glimpse into their feud during the roast session that was a few weeks ago on a group date. And when Sarah came back from her one-on-one with a rose, she made it a point to tell all of the girls that whoever talked to Clayton behind her back was a little shady and it was a last-ditch effort to get a rose. And Clayton actually saw it that way as well. So this really triggered Mara. We saw the look on her face when Sarah came in with a rose. I mean, Mara, you looked jealous. You looked a little desperate. It looked like she, knew that her time was up. I feel like at this point, there's obvious girls who have clear connections with Clayton. And Mara just isn't one of them. No matter how badly she wants to get married, no matter how badly she's ready, it's pretty obvious that Mara has fallen behind and that she's taking it out on Sarah, or at least that's my perspective. I've seen a lot of Bachelor fans siding with Mara after watching the full episode, but where we're at in the beginning of the episode, I think Mara looks a little crazy, and Mara confronts Sarah at the rose ceremony the next day and called her cocky and said that she's getting way too ahead of herself. She does not have it in the bag. And I didn't like that. I felt like Mara was trying to bulldoze over Sarah. She was talking over her. She kind of pinned her into a corner and confronted her and really just came after her. I was not feeling it. I did not think it was necessary. I feel like it was Mara's, last ditch effort to kind of make her presence known on the show. She must have known she was going home. There's only 7 girls or 6 girls after this rose ceremony. So Mara has to know that her time is up. And I mean, it really didn't work out for her because Eliza and Mara ended up getting sent home at the rose ceremony. And I mean, sayonara, Mara. I was really happy to see her go. I was team Sarah in this situation, and we'll get to the Sarah stuff in just a minute, but I mean, I was just really happy to see her go. And Eliza, I think, is very beautiful, she's just honestly so gorgeous and so sweet. She has a really good poise about her, very mature. But ultimately, I mean, her and Clayton, definitely did not have the strongest connection in the house, and that's probably why he ended up sending her home. These big decisions have to get made, people, when you really have to narrow it down to the final few. And the next day, our girl Susie got her second one-on-one date. It was the Pretty Woman date where Susie got to go on a shopping spree and pick out all of these clothes, and then the butler came in with the beautiful red dress. Guys, Susie for Bachelorette. If Clayton doesn't pick Susie, I want to see her as the Bachelorette. I love Susie's energy. I love how kind she is, how confident she is. I mean, I think Susie's my favorite on the show. It was Gabby for a while, but now I just feel like Susie has the best presence on the show, and she just knows how to light up a room. So I was really glad to see Clayton give her the first rose of the week, securing her spot in the top 4. And the next day, there was a group date with the rest of the ladies, including Genevieve, Teddy, Gabby, Sarah, and Rachel. And on the group date, the girls did a therapy session, and it was clear that Genevieve was really struggling, considering she has been the only girl that did not get a one-on-one date this season, and there's already been multiple women who are getting their second one-on-ones. Genevieve broke down to Clayton, and the two of them came to the conclusion that there are stronger connections between Clayton and the other women, and Genevieve left. It was kind of a mutual breakup. I feel like Genevieve knew going into this group date that she's not ready to introduce Clayton to her family if she's not going to get a one-on-one, and everyone else is getting a one-on-one. The writing is on the wall. I feel like Genevieve and Clayton, had a really mature conversation. The therapist just seemed very intense. I was glad that they kind of had that separately from the therapist, because, I mean, how are you supposed to open up when it was just such an intense environment and Genevieve already struggles with her feelings? So, I mean, adios, Genevieve. Better now than later. Otherwise, she was going to be sitting around an extra couple days waiting for the rose ceremony to not get a rose. So, I mean, you can either just kind of enjoy the rest of your trip in Austria or just head out of there. And I think Genevieve made the right decision. And the drama did not end there on the group date, as the therapist called out one of the girls for being performative without saying any names. This felt very producer planted to me, because what kind of therapist just calls out somebody for sharing their feelings? I mean, all of the girls cried, and maybe Sarah was being a little performative. I think by the end of the episode, Clayton definitely felt like Sarah was being performative, but Gabby, Teddy, and Rachel all seem to be really close and believe that Sarah is the one that just isn't being as authentic. So maybe Mara was onto something, no matter what we saw at the rose ceremony earlier. And on the night portion of the date, Clayton immediately pulled Rachel aside, his front runner, and I mean, kind of got to the lay of the land. And Rachel told Clayton that, you know, Sarah was exaggerating about what happened on their one-on-one date and making it so theatrical, and saying that Clayton was crying when he wasn't. And this really hit a nerve with Clayton and really changed how he looked at Sarah, how he perceived her, because he ended up telling her off. And this part was crazy because he seemed so cold, and I was just really confused why. He was saying that Sarah's tears weren't real and that he just doesn't believe them. And if there's no trust in between a relationship, then how could they move forward? And it was just so harsh and so abrupt. And maybe we weren't there, but I was just like, I don't know, I like Sarah, and I just didn't understand why Clayton was so cold with her and walked her out. There must have been something else that we weren't seeing. I mean, clearly, if all of the other girls in the house feel this way, there's obviously some truth to it. It's not like it's a one-on-one issue. It's like the whole house, Clayton, probably the producers, that believe that Sarah just isn't being super authentic. So Clayton walked her out. And I feel like she's gonna get a lot of heat at the Women Tell All, because, you know, not all the women seem to be too fond of Sarah towards the end, especially after Shanae left. Who would have ever thought Sarah would become our next villain? And Clayton did not end up handing out a group date rose because he really wasn't ready to make a decision after the difficult group date of sending home both Genevieve and Sarah. So that's kind of giving us a little bit of mystery to see who is going to stay for the rose ceremony at the end of the episode. And the next day, Serene got her one-on-one with Clayton, and the date went really, really well. The two of them bonded. My take is that I feel like Serene is just a little too mature for Clayton. I don't really feel like they're from the same world. I don't feel like they have anything in common. I don't know. I just didn't feel like their connection was super strong. I feel like they were able to have these cool conversations. And Serene is obviously like very wise beyond her years. She's very put together. I mean, this is no shade towards Serene. I just feel like she's too good for Clayton and that she's out of his league. And I just don't even know why they ended up connecting, because I just don't see it between them. Maybe it's just me. You guys can let me know in the comments, but like, I just don't see it between them. But Clayton ended up giving her that rose, securing her spot in the top 4 with Susie, and taking us to the rose ceremony. We're only down to 5 women left, and 2 of them already have roses, so it's really up in the air between Rachel, Gabby, and Teddy. And obviously, he's not going to send home Rachel, because that's clearly his favorite, the girl he always pulls aside, the girl who's gotten the most group date roses over the season. So it really came down to Gabby and Teddy, and Gabby ended up getting the rose, and Teddy ended up getting sent home. And this was so upsetting to me, because Teddy was one of my favorites on the show. She got the first rose the night 1. She had such an interesting story with her family, being a virgin. I wanted to see Teddy's hometown. I wanted to see it. I really thought it could happen. Teddy thought it could happen. She was pretty secure in her spot. But ultimately, I mean, you know, Clayton picked Gabby over Teddy, and I feel like Gabby's gonna have a really interesting hometown next week, so I'm happy to see her there. But I just feel like Serene, she just isn't connecting with Clayton, and Teddy was connecting, so maybe he should have kept Teddy over Serene. But I mean, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, and we're down to our final 4 women: Serene, Susie, Rachel, and Gabby. And next week is going to get intense with hometowns, meeting the families. I'm so excited about hometowns. It looks like there's gonna be a strict father by Rachel. I know Gabby's family situation is interesting because she doesn't talk to her mom anymore. Serene, Susie, I mean, these are going to be really fun dates, and we're really going to see who Clayton is vibing with, because once you meet the family, that is when it becomes super, super official. So let me know your predictions in the comments down below for next week's dates, and let me know what you guys think about the episode. Were you team Mara? Were you team Sarah? Thoughts on the Genevieve situation, thoughts on these final 4 connections. We want to hear from you guys and know what you guys think of this season of The Bachelor, because it's finally heating up and it's finally getting super, super good. The ending is always where it gets most intense, and this is where all the viewers get drawn back in. So that's everything we have to share with you guys today. So before you guys go, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any Bachelor, Bachelorette updates. We're always bringing them to you. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality. My social media handles are on the screen right now, so be sure to give me a follow, come say hi. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.